In the world of the bold and the beautiful, where emotions run high and secrets linger in the shadows, Bill Spencer's past mistakes have always been a source of torment for him. The weight of his actions has never truly left him, especially when it comes to his complicated relationships with Luna Nozawa and Liam Spencer. These past mistakes, particularly the consequences of his actions regarding Luna's tragic situation, have haunted Bill for a long time. His guilt over how things unfolded with Luna, the young woman he once cared deeply for, and the damage done to his relationship with his son, Liam, has weighed heavily on him. The guilt and emotional turmoil become unbearable, pushing him to a breaking point where he seeks solace in an unexpected place, with Poppy Nozawa, Luna's mother, someone who has her own deep connections to Bill's past. Bill's search for comfort from Poppy sets off a chain of events that reawakens long-buried emotions, resulting in disastrous consequences for the relationships he holds dear. Bill's obsession with his past mistakes begins when he is confronted with the reality of the impact his actions have had on Luna's life. His regret for the part he played in her suffering and the way his choices affected his son, Liam, gnaws at him every day. The idea that his decisions have not only hurt Luna, but have also led to a rift between him and Liam is a constant source of emotional turmoil for Bill. He tries to reconcile with his son, but the strain between them is too much to overcome. The love he has for Liam, his desire to protect him, and his regret for the pain he has caused are all wrapped up in a single, overwhelming emotion: guilt. His failure to make amends with Luna, the young woman who is now battling the consequences of their shared past, intensifies the emotional burden he carries. Bill becomes increasingly consumed by the weight of these past mistakes, and the need to find redemption becomes a driving force in his life. In the midst of this emotional struggle, Bill turns to Poppy Nozawa, Luna's mother, for comfort. Poppy, a woman who knows Bill's history with her daughter all too well, becomes an unexpected source of solace. Bill, unable to cope with the pain of his past and the damage to his relationship with his son, seeks out Poppy as a way to ease his emotional burden. He reaches out to her, hoping for a sense of relief, a way to relieve the overwhelming guilt that has taken over his life. Poppy, having been through her own share of pain and loss, is initially reluctant to offer Bill the comfort he seeks. However, her compassion for him, coupled with the shared history they have, ultimately draws her to him. Despite the complicated and painful history between them, Poppy is moved by Bill's vulnerability and his genuine desire for atonement. As the two reconnect, old emotions resurface and the chemistry between them reignites. The bond they once shared, long buried under the weight of time and regret, begins to resurface, and soon, Bill finds himself drawn to Poppy in ways he didn't anticipate. The emotional comfort he seeks from her soon turns into something deeper, something more passionate. The connection between them, once rooted in friendship and mutual understanding, quickly transforms into something more intimate. Bill's unresolved feelings for Poppy, coupled with the intense emotional pressure he is under, blur his judgment. What begins as an attempt to ease his guilt and find redemption turns into a dangerous rekindling of a past relationship that threatens to tear apart everything he has worked for. Bill's involvement with Poppy puts his existing relationships in jeopardy, especially his already fragile bond with Liam. Liam, still reeling from the emotional wounds inflicted by his father's past actions, is caught in the crossfire of Bill's rekindled relationship with Poppy. As Bill and Poppy grow closer, Liam begins to notice the shift in his father's behavior. The once confident and commanding man is now distant, distracted, and emotionally entangled with someone from their past. For Liam, this development is a painful reminder of the unresolved issues that continue to haunt his relationship with his father. Bill's focus on Poppy threatens to drive an even deeper wedge between them, and Liam becomes increasingly frustrated with his father's actions. The emotional strain between Bill and Liam reaches new heights as Liam struggles to reconcile the father he once admired with the man he sees before him now, a man caught in a web of old emotions and dangerous decisions. Meanwhile, Hope Logan, who has always stood by Liam's side and tried to support him through the turmoil caused by Bill's actions, begins to feel the impact of Bill's rekindled relationship with Poppy. Hope, who has already been struggling with her own insecurities about her place in Liam's life, begins to fear that Bill's emotional turmoil will push Liam further away from her. She sees the growing distance between Liam and his father and worries that the unresolved issues from Bill's past, particularly his relationship with Poppy, will create an insurmountable barrier in their family. Hope's fears are compounded by the knowledge that Bill's decisions are influencing not only Liam's emotions, but also the dynamics of their relationship. As Liam becomes more consumed by his own struggles with his father, Hope is left to question her place in his life and her ability to help him through the storm. The tension escalates as Bill's relationship with Poppy grows more intense. The two of them begin to make choices that threaten to unravel everything they have worked for. Bill's desire for redemption and emotional relief blinds him to the consequences of his actions, and he becomes increasingly reckless in his pursuit of a connection with Poppy. What was once a simple desire to seek comfort and atonement from someone who understands his pain has now spiraled into a dangerous and destructive relationship. Bill's need for forgiveness and emotional support has led him down a path that puts everything he holds dear in jeopardy. The emotional turmoil caused by his rekindled relationship with Poppy is felt by everyone around him, especially Liam, who is caught in the chaos and is left questioning his place in his father's life. As the emotional storm intensifies, Bill finds himself facing a crossroads. He is forced to confront the reality of his decisions and the pain he has caused in the lives of those he loves. His relationship with Poppy, which he once thought would offer him the redemption and comfort he desperately sought, has become a source of further conflict. The passion and emotional connection he feels with Poppy have blinded him to the consequences of his actions. He is no longer simply dealing with guilt and regret over Luna's situation. He is now facing the fallout from his relationship with Poppy, which threatens to destroy his bond with Liam. The emotional tension between father and son reaches its peak as Liam is forced to confront the reality of his father's choices and the damage they have caused to their relationship. The destructive impact of Bill's rekindled relationship with Poppy is felt not only within the Spencer family, but also within the larger network of relationships in their world. As the drama unfolds, the ripple effects of Bill's choices will reverberate through the lives of those closest to him, leaving a trail of heartache, regret, and broken relationships. Bill's quest for redemption and emotional relief may have led him down a path of self-destruction, but it also forces him to confront the harsh reality of his past actions and the damage they have caused. The complicated relationships between Bill, Liam, Hope, and Poppy will never be the same, and the emotional fallout from these events will shape their futures in ways they never anticipated. The fallout from Bill's actions will be felt for years to come as the Forrester and Spencer families are forced to reckon with the consequences of past mistakes. The tensions between father and son, between Bill and Poppy, and between Hope and Liam will shape their future decisions and the paths they choose to take. As Bill, Liam, and their loved ones navigate the emotional fallout from these events, the drama continues to unfold, with each character left to grapple with the choices they have made and the impact those choices will have on their lives. In the world of the bold and the beautiful, nothing is ever as simple as it seems, and the consequences of one man's emotional choices can alter the course of many lives forever. The emotional chaos surrounding Bill Spencer's rekindled relationship with Poppy Nozawa takes a much darker turn as Katie Logan, who has always been Bill's emotional anchor, finds herself caught in a battle she never expected. Katie, whose heart has long been tethered to Bill despite their tumultuous history, becomes the unexpected voice of reason and moral authority in the wake of Bill's self-destructive path. As Bill's obsession with his past mistakes and his emotional connection with Poppy intensifies, Katie begins to sense the growing danger within his actions. She sees the destructive forces at play and is determined to put an end to the spiraling situation, particularly the reawakening of Bill's old feelings for Poppy. As Katie becomes more vocal in her opposition, urging Bill to stop this dangerous affair before it tears everything apart, the stakes of their emotional conflict rise higher. But in the shadows, Poppy, who has long hidden her own ambition and cunning, begins to see Katie as an obstacle, someone standing in the way of her desires, and she is prepared to take matters into her own hands. The tension culminates in a shocking and life-threatening decision made by Poppy, one that will change the course of the entire story. Katie's opposition to Bill and Poppy's rekindled connection comes from a place of deep emotional pain and concern for her own family. She has seen firsthand the destruction that Bill's past decisions have wrought, and she knows that if he continues down this path with Poppy, it will tear apart the very fabric of the Spencer family. Katie, who has always stood by Bill's side despite the many heartaches and betrayals they've faced together, is now resolute in her belief that Poppy is a threat not only to Bill but to the relationships they've fought to rebuild. She understands that Bill's obsession with his guilt and his need for redemption have clouded his judgment, but she also recognizes that Poppy's motivations go far beyond mere emotional comfort. Poppy is a woman with a hidden agenda, one that Katie senses but cannot yet fully prove. Katie sees Poppy's emotional hold on Bill as dangerous, and she is determined to put an end to it, no matter the cost. In an emotional confrontation with Bill, Katie passionately pleads with him to see reason. She reminds him of the love they once shared and the stability they fought so hard to build after the devastating events of their past. Katie is not willing to watch Bill throw everything away for the sake of a fleeting, dangerous connection with Poppy. Her voice cracks with emotion as she makes it clear that she will not stand by while Bill continues to make decisions that will tear their family apart. She expresses her concern for Liam, for the Spencer family legacy, and for the impact that Bill's actions are having on their future. But Bill, consumed by his emotional turmoil, is unable to see beyond his own desires. He has become increasingly entangled in his relationship with Poppy, unable or unwilling to hear the warnings Katie so desperately tries to convey. Katie's objections are met with cold resistance from Bill, who, blinded by his guilt and longing for redemption, sees her pleas as nothing more than interference in his journey to find peace. The emotional rift between Bill and Katie deepens, and for the first time, their once solid bond seems irrevocably fractured. Bill, who has long sought comfort in Katie's love and forgiveness, now stands at a crossroads where he feels trapped between the woman who has always supported him and the one who represents the unresolved emotions and pain of his past. This internal struggle leaves him divided, emotionally distant, and incapable of truly understanding the danger he is walking into. Poppy, sensing that Katie's growing opposition to her relationship with Bill could put everything she has worked for in jeopardy, decides to take matters into her own hands. While she appears to be the victim of Bill's emotional turmoil, in reality, Poppy has her own hidden motivations. She sees Bill's vulnerability as an opportunity to further her own desires, regardless of the consequences for those around her. In a moment of cold, calculated decision-making, Poppy decides that Katie is an obstacle to her plans and must be removed permanently. The tension between Katie and Poppy reaches its peak one fateful evening when the two women cross paths during a tense confrontation. Poppy, who has long kept her darker impulses under wraps, sees in this moment a way to eliminate Katie once and for all. With a dangerous glint in her eye, Poppy devises a plan that will leave no room for suspicion. A tragic accident. As the two women exchange heated words, Poppy, who knows how to manipulate situations to her advantage, subtly orchestrates a scenario that will put Katie in harm's way. In a twisted and ruthless move, she engineers a car accident, one that will appear to be an unfortunate mishap but will ultimately eliminate Katie as a threat to her future with Bill. The stage is set for a life-altering moment that will send shockwaves through the entire Spencer and Forrester families. The night of the accident unfolds in a haze of speed, tension, and calculated intent. Katie, unaware of Poppy's dangerous plans, leaves a meeting with Bill and heads to her car. Her mind is heavy with the emotional weight of her argument with Bill, her concern for Liam, and the overwhelming frustration of seeing the man she still loves slipping further away. She drives, her thoughts clouded by the emotional storm she is navigating, unaware that Poppy is quietly watching from the shadows. At just the right moment, Poppy makes her move. A carefully timed push causes Katie to lose control of her car, sending it careening off the road into a dangerous crash. The scene is horrific, with Katie left unconscious and critically injured, while Poppy quietly walks away, knowing she has just secured her place in Bill's life. When news of the accident breaks, the Spencer and Forrester families are thrown into chaos. Bill, who has been struggling with his own guilt and emotional turmoil, is beside himself with fear and anxiety. His emotional attachment to both Katie and Poppy puts him in an impossible situation, and now, with Katie lying in the hospital, fighting for her life, Bill is forced to confront the full scope of his decisions. His heartbreak over Katie's condition is compounded by the crushing guilt he feels, knowing that Poppy's actions could very well have led to this tragedy. The incident shakes Bill to his core, and he is faced with the grim realization that the emotional web he has created has had catastrophic consequences. Liam, equally distraught by the news of Katie's accident, cannot help but wonder if his father's rekindled relationship with Poppy is the root cause of the unfolding disaster. He sees Poppy as a dangerous, manipulative woman who has already caused enough harm in their lives, and now, with Katie's life on the line, Liam begins to question just how far Poppy will go to secure her place in Bill's world. As Katie fights for her life in the hospital, the entire Spencer family must come to terms with the wreckage Poppy has left in her wake. Bill's guilt over the role his past mistakes have played in the accident is overwhelming, and the repercussions of this tragic event will be felt for years to come. The emotional fallout from Katie's accident creates rifts that threaten to destroy the already fragile relationships within the Spencer family. Liam's trust in his father is shattered, and Hope, who has been trying to hold her family together, is left to deal with the fallout from yet another tragedy caused by Bill's actions. Poppy's ruthless maneuvering has irreparably changed the dynamics of the Spencer family, and now, the families are forced to face the consequences of her actions. The aftermath of the accident becomes the catalyst for a new chapter in The Bold and the Beautiful, one where family loyalty, betrayal, and dark ambitions collide. Bill's emotional struggles, Katie's near-death experience, and the ongoing tension between Poppy and the Spencer family will shape the coming days, leading to more explosive confrontations and life-altering decisions. As the truth behind the accident slowly begins to unravel, the lives of those involved will be irrevocably changed, and the once strong bonds within the Spencer family will be tested in ways they never imagined.